Hi everybody, my name's Stephen, I'm from Legacy Wills and Probate. Just a quick live, just to answer some questions really. It's questions that were being asked quite on a regular basis during these strange times in COVID. We found that businesses have gone really busy. I think people are sitting at home thinking about lots of things and death unfortunately now is a subject that people are happy to talk about and they want to put their affairs in order. So we're getting people phoning us on a regular basis asking us why they need a will. And I thought rather than try and answer everybody's questions at the same time, that we'll try and do a little video where people can have a look at that on the Facebook page and our website and work out what the reasons why they need a will. So probably the first place to start would be what happens if you've not got a will. So we do know that probably over 60% of the population that requires a will doesn't have a will in place. So if that's the case and you pass without a will in place, then the intestacy law takes over, and the intestacy law is governed by the government. So ultimately the government decide what will happen to your estate and what will happen to, if you've got children under the age of 18, your children. Two really big topics and two really big issues that I think we'd all want control of. So let's deal with the estate first of all. So if you've got an estate over £270,000, then the government will say that the first 270 will go to your spouse or your civil partner. After that, it will go down your bloodline. So if you, for example, has got an estate of £500,000, you pretty much only half of that is only going to go to your spouse or your civil partner. The other half will be split between the rest of your bloodline. Some people might say that's fine, that's exactly what I want to happen. We tend to find that most people don't want that to happen, they want to have some control over that. And just putting a simple in place will give you that control. The other big issue coming from that we find that people are totally unaware of is the guardianship of any children under the age of 18. And most people are under the impression that the children will be looked after a relative, whoever's left, be it grandparents, be it aunties, uncles, think that will happen automatically. And the shock is that that won't happen. Ultimately, they may end up there, but on death, especially if there's a joint death, so if mother and father pass at the same time in a car accident or something along those lines, then again the government have to make a decision of who should be the guardians of the children that are left behind. The way it will work is, on most cases, that social services will become involved. They will have to look at who's going to offer the services to look after the children within the family network, and then they've got to go through quite a long process to make sure that those people that are offering the services are true and moralistic and ethically in a position to do that. Because don't forget, not only they may not receive any money from your estate, so they may have to fund that themselves. However, if you've done a will, you would dictate who you want to look after your children, and you can also put some money in place for that to happen. So another really big reason why anybody should have a will that's got children under the age of 18 is purely just to make sure that the children are looked after by somebody that you wish to happen, and not just by any social services deciding who should do that for you. So there's that. So then another good reason is if, for example, and I'm just giving you some examples of where people probably have a misunderstanding of what happens when you pass and you've not got a will. So if you're in a relationship with, a long-term relationship with somebody, you both bought a house, or you bought it in joint names, you've split the tenancy, so you own 50% each. And unfortunately, one of the partners passes away, you're not married, you're not a civil partnership, and you've got kids, which is quite common these days. It's not unusual, that's a particular scenario. If that happened and one of the people passed, then again, you'd die in intestacy, and the government will dictate what happens to the money. So your house is worth £500,000. At that point, the house would have to, so the family home would have to be sold. The family home would have to be sold because they have to liquidate the estate to follow the laws of intestacy, to make sure that the spouse or the civil partner, in this case, it wouldn't be the spouse or the civil partner because you've not got a spouse or civil partner, you're just in a relationship. So in this case, it would go down to the children. But the children can't own the home until the age of 18, so there will have to be somebody who will manage that. It causes all sorts of problems, as you can imagine. It can ultimately end up in you losing the family home, even though the children would own it, but for obvious reasons they can't own it under the age of 18. Again, a simple will would stop all that happening. So if you've got kids and you're not married, even if you've not got kids and you're married, you desperately need to get a will in place just to cover that eventuality. The last thing you want is, if you've been in a relationship with somebody and you pass, is for that other person to be left with all the hassle and potentially with nothing. I can give you some really good examples, but it's probably not the time and place to do that. I just want to explain the next process really. So the other issue that people find, that again it's an understanding rather than an actual fact. They believe that when they die, if they don't die with a will in place, that one of the family members will sort that out. Again, not necessarily the case. However, if you write your own will, you dictate again who administers your estate on your death. They're called the executors. So within your will, you say who you want to be the executor for your estate. If you don't do that, then again the government will take over and do that for you. And ultimately, if you have a will, you can decide exactly what happens to your estate on your death. So you can dictate exactly who gets what percentage, and more importantly, if you don't want somebody to inherit from your will, then you can put that in your will as well. So if you had a fallout with a sibling or a fallout with, I don't know, children, and for whatever reason you decide you don't want them to benefit from your estate, you can put that in your will, and the executor of the will is then going to make sure that doesn't happen. So again, if you die without a will, you've got zero control. With the will, you can dictate exactly who benefits from your estate and your death. I think they're the main reasons, they're the main things that people surmise will happen and actually don't happen. So I just wanted to get that across to you today. I think that'll probably wrap it up for the time being. 5 or 6 minutes is long enough for listening to me. We're going to probably do this on a more regular basis. We're hoping to do this probably once a week with some feedback from clients, some interesting questions. I know we've got something on LPAs. We've been asking a few questions about that, so we're going to bring that to the live forum, and other topics about trust and things like that. So keep tuning in for the next few weeks, and hopefully there's some interesting stuff for you. Great, thank you. Bye bye.